Hi, George here with JustOneDram.com for Whiskey Wednesday. This week, despite having 3 bottles on the table, only reviewing one. Johnnie Walker Double Black. So before getting into the review itself, let's talk a little bit about the changing Johnnie Walker line. Well, first off, Johnnie Walker Double Black is a relatively newer product to the line. It is an extra charred barrel aged blend similar to the Black Label. I will not with any confidence say it's the same blend as the 12-year because there is no age statement on this bottle. Whereas the 12-year, the Black Label is a 12-year minimum age statement. So there is no confidence in saying that this is a 12-year Black Label that has been aged differently. Cannot say that with any confidence whatsoever. There are definitely some older malts in it, but it's definitely not a minimum of 12 years. More about the line. Here is a bottle of the Gold Label, the old Gold Label, the 18-year. They have since done away with the Gold Label 18-year and now have the Gold Label Special Reserve with no age statement. Instead of having a nice transparent bottle on the new Gold Label, it is a shiny gold colored bottle. And replacing the 18-year Gold is now the 18-year Platinum, which has a very, well, shiny silver or platinum colored bottle. Diageo's making a lot of moves with that. My assumption is by Diageo, the owning corporation, the owning multinational of the Johnnie Walker brand, is running out of, not running out of, but running low on some of the older malts that they're pulling from, because with such a large corporation as Diageo owning as many Scotch brands as they do, they're probably running low on the higher age malts and grains that they're using for their blends, as well as their single malts that they own, as well as the other blends they own. So by adding in some new brands to the line, or products to the line, I'm sorry, with no age statement, they're able to use more young malts and less of the older, thus putting a higher price tag on things like the no age statement Gold or the 18-year Platinum. The Double Black, I will admit, fairly reasonably priced. It's pretty in line with the pricing on the 12-year, but again, probably cost them a little less to make this bottle, as it's not a minimum of 12 years. Anyway, fun little fact and story about myself. When I first turned 21, which, if you're watching from somewhere else in the globe, is the legal drinking age here in America, first bottle I ever bought of liquor, I decided that I wanted to be a whiskey drinker. Not just any whiskey drinker, a Scotch drinker. And I made that decision before ever trying a single drop. And I went to the store and bought the highest end thing I could think of. I wanted to try the best it could be. I didn't want to go cheap. I wanted to be classy. With a bottle of Johnnie Walker Black Label. Not this bottle. This is probably the 8th bottle I've ever owned of it. I've slowed down my consumption of Johnnie Walker more recently, but the Johnnie Walker Black Label was the first bottle I ever bought in the whole ride home, because at the age of 21, spending almost $40, $50 on a bottle of liquor was a lot of money, especially since I didn't know what I was getting myself into. The whole ride home I was thinking, oh, I better like this, I better like this, this better be good. I will hate myself if I wasted money on this. I hope I didn't pick wrong. So I get home, nervously unpackage the bottle. It's in one of those cardboard boxes that you'll find many of the Johnnie Walker products in. And sit there looking at the bottle, thinking, oh, this better be good. It better be good. Because I just spent a lot of money on something I have no idea if I really will like or not, and I've decided this is what I want to drink. Thankfully, poured a glass, took a sip, and I loved it. It was fantastic. It was a great bottle. And that was my first experience with higher end whiskey. And really opened me up to a huge world of all sorts of really great stuff. Granted, as my palate has evolved, and I've tried hundreds of different whiskeys now, it's by no means my favorite anymore, but it always will have that special spot in my heart as a bottle that changed my life. Anyway, enough about me being boring, sentimental, and whatever else I just was, nostalgic, if you will. Let's talk about the Double Black. A nice tinted glass bottle. Unfortunately, since I use natural lighting and the sun just decided to hide behind a cloud, we're not getting enough light for this to be fully... Actually, haha. Technology is a wonderful thing. Haha. I don't know how well you can see that, but the glass is tinted a smoky color to complement the fact that this whiskey is, well, extra charred barreled in extra charred barrels, which of course brings more smokiness. So here we are with my notes on Stegosaurus notepaper that I've had since I was 7, and I saved for some reason. Figured it would be a good use for it. Off we go. On the nose I get a lot of fresher fruits like pear, apple, some vanilla, faint caramel, burnt oatmeal, raisins. Kind of reminds me of the smoky smell when you're slow cooking or barbecuing pork. When you're like really slow cooking at maybe 150 degrees over a few hours in a smoker, it's that kind of smell of smoke. Not quite hickory, but it smells like cooking meat on a fire. And onto the palate. Let's see how it tastes. Definitely on the sweeter side, up front. Rounds out a little more bitter-ish. Pear, green apple. Tastes kind of like a campfire. If you've I don't know if you've ever tasted a campfire, but it tastes like a campfire. It's hard to describe. It's like burning wet wood or damp wood with a thicker smoke coming off of it when you're sitting around out camping. Tastes like that. It's a little chemical-y in flavor. Not necessarily an off-putting chemical note to it, but it's definitely got a little chemical nature to it. Though definitely the malts that are used in this grain and malt blend are very predominant, especially getting some of that eastern coast of Scotland fruitiness. definitely a little Speyside malt in there. Because remember, a blend like this is obviously it's multi-distillery, and I know that Diageo owns quite a large number of distilleries and brands in Scotland, so they're able to pull malts from pretty much every sub-region or whiskey region there. Not all of them, but a lot of them. You definitely have some different coasts lining up here. It's very evident that some of the malts are Speyside, northeastern area of Scotland. Definitely getting some of the smokier malts and grains from the west coast. Very distinct vanilla, kind of caramely, not too much caramel in the note, but in the palate. But there is a little bit, definitely more vanilla. It's very interesting how the palate progresses over your tongue. Up front, it's real rich, fruity, and as I said, it rounds around a little bit to a chemically bitterness, and then fades right into the finish, which is really tingly. It lingers. It really hangs out on the front half of your tongue, not quite to the tip of your tongue, but maybe about a third of your tongue, about an inch away from the tip, and the front half of the roof of your mouth really tingles right in there. I'm not sure why, but that's how it feels to me. Definitely has a campfire-y finish to it. Bitter, underripe fruits, like a pear that's still a little too underripe, or a not quite fully grown green apple. Probably a Granny Smith. It's interesting. I definitely, honestly, like the Double Black more than I do the regular Black Label, even though it's a little perturbing that there is no minimum age statement on something called the Double Black when the single standard black is a 12-year. But again, I understand the business model, I understand where Diageo is coming from on this, and I respect the fact that they found a way to make a pretty solid product more profitable. So I cannot fault them for making intelligent business moves, but it's a little off-putting as a whiskey drinker. Anywho, we could talk business and we could talk business and artistic purism all day, but at the end of the day, all that matters is, does it taste good? Am I enjoying it? And the answer to that is yes. It's a quite nice bottle. It's a great bottle of blended scotch. Definitely recommend it to anyone who likes the Johnnie Walker Black Label. Definitely a fun, new, interesting take on a similar style blend. And while I'm mentioning it, if you see the 18-year gold label, it doesn't hurt to grab a bottle before they are all gone, because it doesn't exist anymore. I might review it at some point. I might even review it side by side with a new gold label, or even with a platinum. Undecided, because those are some expensive bottles for something that I'm quite frankly not 100% sold on quite yet. Anyway, this bottle right here, Double Black, I give it a very solid 88 points. Great to have on your shelf. Very good on the rocks. I don't often drink whiskey on the rocks. I usually drink it neat in a Glencairn. But it is very good with a little bit of ice. The cooling down reins back some of the smokiness, as well as the slight dilution from the melting ice. Really changes the flavor profile, and it's really quite interesting. Anyway, I've been rambling long enough. So with that, I have to say, thanks for watching. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe, hit like on the video down here, leave a comment saying what you think of this bottle, what you think of the review, what you'd like to see us review in the future. Of course, share on Facebook, Twitter. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, justonedram.com, social media here and there, everywhere, of course. And keep an eye out. For the month of April, I'm going to be doing a little mini-series on New York State spirits. I might jump into some wine and beer as well, but predominantly spirits. I haven't fully decided if I'm just doing a 4-week Whiskey Wednesday series on New York spirits or pumping out a few extra videos and making it a little more interesting. Getting a fuller tour of the state, if you will. Anyway, happy Whiskey Wednesday. Cheers.